I can't open or view the YouTube link directly, but I can absolutely write the emotional, engaging long-form story you asked for, based on the image in your earlier prompt theme about a single dad who sat at the wrong table on a blind date, unaware the woman across from him was the CEO's paralyzed daughter. Here's the story in plain paragraphs, with emotional depth, clear challenges, and a satisfying resolution, paced for approximately 15-minute narrated video. He didn't know his life was about to change the moment he sat down. Ethan Harper had always been early. Not because he liked punctuality, though he did, but because he feared being late. Being late meant disappointing someone, and he had spent most of the last 3 years disappointing himself. When his son fell asleep on the couch for the third night running, Ethan told himself he deserved this moment, a chance to be seen as more than just a hard-working dad juggling night shifts and broken dreams. So when the restaurant's hostess handed him a slip reading, Table 12, he didn't even glance at the elegant couple already seated there. He just sat, phone in hand, rehearsing the opening line he hoped would be witty, confident, and charming. The woman across the table looked him in the eye, and something in her gaze didn't fit any smile he'd expected. She wasn't annoyed exactly, but she wasn't prepared for company who didn't belong either. There was a stillness about her, poised, intelligent, guarded, and Ethan froze, realizing too late that he'd sat at the wrong table. "I'm so sorry," he said, half rising out of his seat. "I think I took the wrong table. That was my fault." Her eyes lingered on him, flicking from his nervous hands to the name card, then back to his earnest face. Before she could answer, a voice cut through the tension like ice cracking in winter. "Clara, that's them," said the woman in the red dress behind them, sharply, angrily. Her stare skimmed Ethan like a judgment he wasn't prepared for. Beside her, a tall man in a tailored suit stood quiet but intense, his gaze fixed on Ethan with curious calm. Clara, the woman at the table, didn't move. She lifted her head a fraction, calm where others were drama. "What do you think you're doing?" the woman in red demanded. "This man clearly doesn't belong here." Ethan swallowed. He wanted to explain, to shrink and apologize all at once, but something in Clara's eyes stopped him. There was no ridicule there, just a quiet question, as if she were weighing him carefully, deliberately. "I'm early," he said, his voice rough. "For a date, I think." Then, realizing how unlikely it all sounded, he added, "If this isn't, I mean." Clara's expression softened. "I'm not offended," she said simply. "But this isn't my date." Her voice was steady and real. Not cruel, not dismissive, just unfiltered honesty. The woman in red scoffed, exasperated, and the suited man stepped forward. "I'm her father," he said. His voice was neither warm nor cold, just fact. "I arranged this blind date for Clara." Ethan's heart stuttered. A blind date with a CEO's daughter. His mind raced with images of wealth, of polished introductions, of words he didn't belong to speak. He glanced at the woman in red, her huff loud and bitter. "Sir," Ethan said, nodding toward the suited man, "I really am sorry. I didn't mean to intrude." The suit didn't shift. He looked from Clara to Ethan, a curious softness in his eyes that didn't belong with the sparkly world they were dining in. "Stay," Clara said. Ethan blinked. Clara was beautiful, not only in the way people expect beauty to show itself, but in the quiet strength behind her gaze. Her smile wasn't flashy, it was honest, and suddenly, Ethan found himself staying. They settled into an awkward but genuine conversation. Ethan, honest about his life as a single father raising his 6-year-old son, juggling shift work and school pickups. Clara, candid about her life too, about the accident that left her paralyzed, about the isolation that came with success, about the weight of expectations no one asked for but everyone noticed. The hour stretched, and the rest of the restaurant faded. Clara's laughter at Ethan's self-deprecating jokes, the way her eyes lit up when she described the books she wanted to write someday, all of it shifted something in Ethan's chest. He began to feel not like a mistake, but like a presence. But then came the challenges. After dinner, while they walked toward the entrance, Clara's wheelchair snagged on a small crack in the pavement. Her face twisted in frustration, and for the first time, Ethan noticed how hard she fought to stay composed. "I got it," she said, trying to push through it alone. "No," Ethan replied softly. "Let me help." And he did, but she didn't thank him immediately. Later, when they sat outside, she confessed something that pierced him, not sympathy, but reality. "Everyone helps me like I'm fragile," she said. "Even when I'm not. Sometimes people see the chair before they see me." Ethan didn't know what to say at first. He only knew that nothing about her felt like an object lesson. She was real, complicated, strong, honest. "I see you," he said finally. She looked at him, and for the first time, her eyes softened into something vulnerable, slightly hopeful. Then came the biggest challenge, navigating the expectations of the world around them. Clara's father watched every interaction with careful restraint. The woman in red made her disapproval obvious. And Ethan struggled with a sharp, ordinary truth: he wasn't her world. He wasn't like her world. But Clara surprised him. She reached for his hand, not dramatically, but sincerely, and said, "I want to see you again." That night marched awkwardly into a raw, emotional goodbye on the sidewalk. There were no grand declarations, just honest truth and two people who had connected deeper than either expected. Weeks passed. They faced misunderstandings, distance, and judgment. But they also faced laughter, patience, and growth. Clara taught Ethan that strength doesn't mean carrying everything alone. Ethan taught Clara that anyone could be brave with the right heart beside them. Eventually, Clara introduced Ethan to her father not as a mistake, but as someone worth knowing. The man who once stood quiet and uncertain became a quiet supporter of their connection. In time, the woman in red, once so dismissive, found herself smiling when Clara spoke of Ethan. And when Ethan wheeled Clara's chair up the same crack in the pavement where they first stumbled, he did it with confident ease. She smiled, not because she needed help, but because someone finally saw her clearly. Their story didn't end in perfection. It ended in hope. Two imperfect people learning that love isn't about fitting someone's world, it's about building a world together. And in that world, no table was ever wrong again.